What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today my brother and I are doing a back and bicep workout. So let's jump right in. We started out with a lat pull down, and as you can see, we are using a different attachment than maybe you would normally see as compared to a straight bar. It's this bar with some handles on the side, just to get a different contraction in our lats. So we did 4 sets, pyramid style, increasing the weight each time and then decreasing the reps each set. So we did, when you're performing this exercise, you kind of want to think about pulling your elbows back and down. And you kind of want to lean back. You see how I'm leaning just a little bit, almost at like a 45-degree angle, and then pulling your elbows back. That way you're not really pulling with your biceps, and you're really just pulling with your back. You see I touched right there. You want to pull the bar to the middle of your chest and then get a full stretch on the way back up. Getting the stretch on the way back up is probably the most important part when you're performing this exercise. You really don't want to be doing half reps no matter how much the weight is, because you're not going to get a full contraction and it'll be harder for that muscle to grow. So this is my top set with the most weight, and you can see I'm swaying just a little bit, but I'm really controlling the negative on the way back up after I pull, and then I'm kind of pausing as long as I can onto my chest. And then we move straight into a barbell bent over row. Now when you're performing this exercise, as you're about to see, my brother will show you which part of your back it's working. It's working pretty much the whole part of your back. You're probably going to feel it, majority of it, in maybe your upper or middle back, but you'll also feel it a little bit in your lower back as well. But you can see my brother right here. You want to keep your back as flat as possible while you're performing this exercise. And then you want to pull back with your elbows, just like the lat pull down. And as you can see, when the shirt comes off, that means it's game time. So let's go. Increasing the weight, we're doing 4 sets, pyramid style, just like we did with the lat pull down. But the difference is we're doing 8 to 12 reps per set, no matter how much the weight is. And that way, just to change it up a little bit. And when you're performing this exercise, when you're lifting that weight up off the ground, you see my brother kind of did like a deadlift. You really want to be careful that you're not just going to snap your back when you pull all this weight up off the ground. Use your legs, just like you're taught when you go working or whatever. Use your legs when you lift something heavy. And now right here, I'm utilizing some lifting straps. Sometimes when you're lifting weight, whether that be when you're deadlifting or you're doing bend over rows like this or you're doing heavy shrugs, the weight might be too heavy for you to hold because your grip strength's not that strong. So if you incorporate some lifting straps like this, it pretty much takes your grip strength out of it and you can just use the primary muscle that's being worked. So my back can definitely handle more weight, but my grip strength cannot. So you can get lifting straps really cheap, under $10. It's a great investment. So anyway, our next exercise is a 45-degree angle dumbbell bent over row. And then we are supersetting that with across the body hammer curls. Now when you're doing the hammer curl, you can see my brother moves the weight across his body and then kind of curls up, and you kind of turn with your thumb at the very top of the movement away from your body, just slightly, just to really engage the top of that bicep. And when you're doing hammer curls like this, you kind of want to squeeze at the very top. When you get to the top of the movement, squeeze for a second and then really control that negative on the way down. And hammer curls are going to work the outside of your bicep. So it's a great exercise. Now, when you're doing this bent over row, you want to be pulling again with your elbows, but you're going to be pulling at a 45-degree angle and keep your back flat the entire time, just like you were doing a barbell bent over row. Now this is another exercise, just another clip of the across the body hammer curls. And you can see I squeeze at the top and then come down and really, really controlling that negative. You don't have to do a ton of weight for this either. You just do something that you can control and you can really feel in your bicep, that mind-muscle connection. And then after that exercise, we went straight into a seated cable row. And then we supersetted the seated cable row with a standing lat pull down using a rope attachment. So you're about to see in a second, I get up from the seated row, I come over here and I grab this rope, and you're going to do a standing lat pull down. Now you're going to keep your back flat, your knees bent just a little bit, you're bending at your hips just a little bit, and then you're going to think about pulling your elbows back and almost thrusting forward, and then pulling your hands to your sides. And you're really going to feel that all in your lats and all in your upper back as well. So, great exercise. Now, when you're performing this seated cable row, this is primarily for the middle of your back. You're probably going to hit a little bit in your upper, maybe a little bit lower, but targeting the middle of your back. You're going to lean forward just a little bit. That's just to get that good stretch. And then you're going to come to like a straight sitting position and squeeze that back. You're pulling when you're doing the row, you're pulling to almost like your navel, like right in between, like right at your abdomen, and you're going to feel it all in your middle back. Now for this the standing lat pull down, you can see through my brother's shirt, you can see his back muscles working. Those are your lats right there. That's what you want to hit. And we have a good time in the gym. You got to have fun. Find a workout partner that you have fun with and just have a good time. So now we did 3 sets of this and we pyramided it again. And this is my top set, the heaviest set, and I'm incorporating those lifting straps again. Now you really want to be careful because you can hurt your back when you start doing heavy weight like this, and it's hard to recover from a back injury. So you will lean forward, get that really good stretch, and then just pause just for a second when you squeeze at the very top, and then come back down. And hopefully, as long as you keep good form, you're not going to hurt your back doing this. I wouldn't go in there and do too much weight till you've been doing it for a while, because you really don't want to hurt yourself. So anyway, supersetted with the standing lat pull downs. We did about 10 reps of the seated row for each set, and then 12 reps for the standing lat pull down for each set. So this isn't the only thing pyramiding in this exercise is the weight each time. The reps stayed pretty much the same the entire time. Now I know you hear me talk about that mind-muscle connection a lot, and that's pretty much just being able to feel the contractions as you perform an exercise. So if you cannot feel it when you're doing an exercise, it's probably one of two things. Either you're using too much weight or you're performing the exercise incorrectly. And that mind-muscle connection will become stronger over time the more you practice an exercise. But you really want to squeeze those muscles so you force blood in there. And that's how the muscle is going to grow over time. I mean, you got to eat as well. You always got to eat. But you really want to feel those contractions as you do them. So we moved on to our next exercise, which is a standing bicep curl. And as you can see, I'm alternating my arms and I'm rotating the curl as I come up through the movement. So you want to start almost as like a hammer curl, and then about halfway through you start turning the dumbbell so that it's like fully turned at the top of the movement. And this is really going to hit your full bicep, and it's going to hit the top of the bicep as well as the outside and the inside. So when you're doing this exercise, you don't need to do a ton of weight. You might see people come in there and throw around, 60s, 70s, and throwing their back in there and using their shoulder trying to curl. it's really not necessary. You just need to get a weight that you can control and that you can handle and do it correctly. And the more you squeeze, really squeeze that muscle. I'm talking about squeezing a lot, but that's really how the muscle's going to grow. If you don't feel it working, then chances are you're not actually working the muscle. So don't worry about doing a ton of weight. Just do something that you can control, and over time the weight will increase. So you see, we got to have some fun in there. And we did 3 sets of this. Eight to 10 reps. And on the last set, I went up to the heaviest weight that I was doing because, I'm warm and why not, And you can see me, I'm swaying a little bit while I'm performing this exercise, but at the same time, I squeeze at the top and then I really, really control that negative on the way down. Negative training is a whole nother animal in itself, but I pretty much incorporate it with, every lift I do, just so I know that I'm really controlling the lift and I don't want to hurt myself. I want to be in here for a while, so I kind of do that every time. So this next exercise, but first, hey man. So for this next exercise, we are doing a laying lat pullover using a dumbbell. So we're holding that dumbbell. You kind of make a diamond with your hands and hold the dumbbell. Bend your arms, both of your arms, just slightly, and then pull it over. And you want to let the dumbbell go below the bench and then come all the way back up to like your mid-chest area, squeezing your lats the entire time. And this is great. Great exercise. You're really going to feel it in your lats. You'll get a great contraction from it. And if you guys want to give this workout a shot, I'll have the entire thing listed in the description box below so you can go give it a try. And if you do, comment below. Let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sit back and enjoy the rest of these clips, and I'll see you next time.